Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villa, and I do year-round out the park baseball content, but today we're going to have a look at we're going to predict basically the season. The start of Major League Baseball opening day is just around the corner, and so let's go and see who out of the park baseball thinks is going to win, who's going to win the World Series, who's going to qualify for the postseason, and individually, who's going to lead batting, pitching. Let's go find out. Okay, so I'll just get myself out of the way here so that we can see all the stats. Now, we can see the Braves, 110 wins. That is ridiculous. They are the only team to get to 100. The Angels fell just short, didn't they? 99 wins for them for the year. The other teams, we see the Jays have won the AL East. They will be going to the postseason with the Rays and the Yankees. The Twins were the only team from the Central, AL Central, that will be going to the postseason. And then the Angels, and I can tell you it's the Mariners that are in the postseason as well. Over in the National League, as I say, the Braves absolutely smashing it to pieces. The Mets will be joining them in the postseason with 96 wins. They're actually the second best team in the NL East, and as a Mets fan, I am full of hope for this season, but fearing that this is what's going to happen. Second best team and still going to the wild card. The Brewers, they won the NL Central, and the Cardinals will be joining them in the postseason, with the Padres pipping the Dodgers to the NL West. Now let's go have a look at some of the stats for individual players here, and then we'll go to the postseason. So we can see batting average. It was Tovar of the Cardinals, of the Rockies even, ahead of Freeman, Walsh, Acuna Jr. and Rochman. I'm never sure how you say that name of the Orioles. Go on, my boy Blue. Pete Alonso leads the way for home runs ahead of Olsen, Just, Ohtani, Stanton, and Henderson. RBIs again. It's Pete Alonso leading the way. It's almost the same, isn't it? Ahead of Olsen, Vlad Jr. up there, Tatis Jr. and Freeman. On base percentage, Acuna Jr. up there. You can see for yourselves. Corey Seager's a new name on the top 5 lists there. Slugging percentage, again, go my boy Petey Blue. My boy Blue, it goes way back. If you're a watcher of the channel, you'll understand why I call him Blue. But anyway, we've got Tatis Jr. up there as well with Vlad. OPS, we can see there again, Louis leading the way. WAR, so it's Henderson ahead of Correa, and then we've got Acuna Jr., Rochman, and Machado as well. At bats, bit of a meaningless stat really, isn't it? But depends how good your team is as to how many times you go around really, doesn't it? We have got hits. It was Tovar leading the way there ahead of Freeman, Turner, Abrams. And Harris. Abrams, of course, was a bit of a star for our Detroit Tigers in our the Park Baseball 23. Acuna leading the way in runs. We can see everybody else there. Doubles, it was CJ topping the leagues there. Freeman up there as well. It's not really weird, you expect it, but a lot of similar names. We can see triples there. Tovar up there in triples as well. If we go down and we can have a look here at total bases, Henderson, Tovar, and Vlad Jr. leading the way there. We have stolen bases. Ruiz of the A's ahead of Harris, Turner, and Acuna Jr. We've got caught stealing, the bad stealers. They are up there as well. It's a lot of familiar names from the stolen bases, though, isn't it? You don't steal what you don't take, I suppose, or try and take. Strikeouts. Joey Gallo is the unwanted man that leads Major League Baseball in that. If we go and have a look at base on balls, he also leads base. So basically, Joey Gallo doesn't really hit the ball that often, does he? He just either walks or strikes out. We have got sack hits, which is, again, it's not really something you particularly want to top, except if it's sack flies. Go on, Bluey, leading the way there, which probably helps his RBI count as well, doesn't it, obviously. Extra base hits, we can see there Mervis is it, ahead of Vlad Jr. Over to isolated power, where obviously Blue leads the way there. Go on, Pete Alonso also leads the way on OPS plus, and we have win prob added. I have no idea what that's a new stat on me. No idea what that means. And weighted OBA. If you know baseball, you'll know what they mean. If you watch the channel often, you'll know that I have limited knowledge of this stuff, and that is way over my head. Let's go have a look at some of the pitching leaders, though, shall we? And it's what I hoped to see this season. It is Verlander topping ERAs. DeGrom up there as well. Haven't really forgiven him yet for leaving the Mets. Scherzer is up there. that's a good news day there for the Mets if that's how the season ends up, isn't it? With Ohtani and Strider as well. Over to wins, and DeGrom does lead the way there. Manoah of the Blue Jays up there. McClanahan. I really like Manoah. I think he could have quite a good year this year. We go over to losses, and Sandy Alcantara leads the way there. He's been a bit of a disaster for me at some point in Out of the Park baseball as well, but we can see the unwanted winners there of losers, so to speak. Over to saves, Iglesias of the Braves is up there. What's his name? The Australian guy, Liam Hendricks. Would have been nice to see him up there. If we go over to pitching WAR, DeGrom, there's a ridiculous number, mate. 9.5 WAR ahead of Ohtani, Fried, Verlander and McClanahan. Over to innings pitched, and Verlander. DeGrom leads the way there. Verlander is in the top 5. We go over to complete games. Verlander, 6 complete games. He's earning his money, isn't he? That is a couple of marathon efforts there. Over to shutouts, and again Verlander with 4. I wonder if there's any complete perfect games in there, or no hitters or anything like that. Over to strikeouts, and DeGrom. Oh, that is a big number, isn't it? 330 strikeouts. The best part of 50 or 60 ahead of the next best. That is huge. If we go over to have a look at base on balls, and it's the Golden Boot if you watch the channel regularly, and 96. It's a dead heat. I'm not quite sure. Maybe more innings or less innings pitched there for Cease or Cess. Cease, I guess. I don't know how you... Anyway, we go to strikeouts per base on balls, and obviously it's no surprise that DeGrom leads the way there. Over to the strikeouts per 9 inning. Again, DeGrom leads the way. 12 strikeouts per 9 inning is a very, very good number indeed, isn't it? If we go down and have a look here at walks per 9 inning, and it is Max Fried. That is Mr. Accuracy. We can see a few other familiar names to me there in my Mets, with DeGrom and Syndergaard in there. Hits against, or home runs against, I should say, sorry. Lodolo is the Muppet of the class. Over to hits plus walks and a whip. I know what whip is. That confused me when I actually saw it written out. It confused me. Whip. It was DeGrom ahead of Verlander. Both with insanely good under 1 whip. And then we can see Ohtani, Scherzer and Peralta in there as well. Fielding, FIP is DeGrom. I've got to see, when I see it actually what it is, it's confusing me. FIP, I know FIP. DeGrom leads the way there, perhaps unsurprisingly. ERA plus, DeGrom, Verlander, Scherzer, Ohtani and Strider. There's some familiar names here. There's some dominant pitchers, isn't there? We've got DeGrom leading the way here again, or whatever that is. Reverse war. I don't know what it means. I don't know. I just in my head that's reverse war. I actually don't know what that means. We've got BAPIP. That's batting average, inning pitched. Anyway, Verlander leads the way. You can tell I enjoy my Out of the Park baseball. I enjoy watching baseball. These more in-depth stats completely over my head. Verlander, opposition average, ahead of DeGrom, which is perhaps a surprise. And then we've got Peralta, Ohtani, and Javier, which is a different name in there. We've got win percentage, Strider. That is insane with, was it 85% win percentage, essentially. DeGrom, Peralta, Scherzer, and Rodriguez is up there as well. Shutdowns, is that different to a close? I don't know what a shutdown is, so apologies, but we can see there. Excuse me, Presley leads the way. We've got holds, so Rayleigh and Minter and Shafeen, and you can see everybody there. And if we go over here to quality starts, unsurprisingly, it's Jacob DeGrom that leads the way. So that's how the regular season played out. Let's go and see what happened in the postseason. So in the most Mets season ever, second best team in the National League, and they lose in the wild card 2-0 to the... Don't even get to win a game in the postseason. But congratulations goes to the Blue Jays. They are your World Series champions, according to Out of the Park Baseball this year. They beat the Dodgers in the World Series. 2 epic league or LCSs. 4-3 both over the Padres and the Angels. And I think if we get that this season, we'll be very, very pleased, won't we? But the Dodgers come from nowhere, really, didn't they? To go and make the World Series. But yeah, the Jays, class of the field. Congratulations to Toronto fans. I can tell you, they would absolutely love that, wouldn't they? Let's go see who wins all the major awards this season. So let's start with the Golden Gloves, and in the American League we can see Stroman of the Orioles for the pitchers, Trevino of the Yankees for catchers, Rizzo of the Yankees for first baseman, Jimenez of the Guardians for second baseman, Suarez of the Mariners for third baseman, Pena of the Astros is the shortstop, golden shortstop. We have Joey Gallo in left field, so he doesn't just strike out and walk. Of the Twins, he gets the Golden Glove in left field. Bader of the Yankees in center field, and Kepler of the Twins for right field. Over to the National League, and Max Fried of the Braves for pitchers. It is Perez of the Giants for catchers, Freeman of the Dodgers for first baseman, Ha Song Kim of the Padres at second base, Arenado of the Cardinals at third base, Swanson of the Cubs at shortstop, Happ of the Cubs in left field, Grisham even of the Padres in center field, and Mookie Betts of the Dodgers for right fielders. Let's have a look at the reliever of the year. So in the American League, it is Ryan Presley of the Astros ahead of Holmes, Beeks, Moore, Abreu, and Jensen. And over to the National League, and we can see that it was Iglesias of the Braves ahead of Ryan Helsley, I had him at some point. Doval, Hader, Williams, and Almonte. Next up, it is the Silver Sluggers. And it is Rauchman of the Orioles for the American League catchers. It is Vlad Jr., unsurprisingly, at first base. It is Brandon Lowe of the Rays at second base. Bregman of the Astros at third. Henderson of the Orioles at shortstop. We have Val Show of the Blue Jays in left field. Mike Trout in center field, Tucker in right field, and Ohtani amongst designated hitters. If we go and have a look at the National League, and we will see that it is Will Smith of the Dodgers for catchers, Freeman at first base for the Dodgers, Marte even is it, of the second base of the Diamondbacks, Machado at Padres at third base. It is Tovar amongst shortstop of the Rockies. We saw he was quite good, wasn't he, when we looked at the stats. Lars Nootbaar, one of the greatest names in left field for the Cardinals. Harris the second of the Braves in center field. Acuna Jr. of the Braves in right field, and Mervis of the Cubs designated hitter. Not many Mets in there, is there? So if we go to Rookie of the Year, and unsurprisingly, it is Tovar, given that he has pretty much won everything of the Rockies. It is the American League Rookie of the Year, ahead of Mervis, Carroll, and Crow Armstrong. And if we look at the, sorry, that is the National League. If we look at the American League, then we can see Henderson of the Orioles pretty much swept the floor, ahead of Peraza of the Yankees, and Collis of the White Sox. Who won Manager of the Year, as if we didn't know. So it goes to the Blue Jays, Schneider of the American League. I think if you win the World Series, you probably deserve it. Now, National League, does it go to the Braves? They won 110 games. You'd think it would, and it does indeed go to the Braves manager. Now, one of the big ones. Who wins the Cy Young? And perhaps unsurprisingly, it is Jacob deGrom, almost unanimously. Ohtani, McClanahan, Cole, Kirby, Castillo, and Cortez getting some honourable mentions there behind him. But yeah, I think deGrom looked as though he dominated the season. If we go to the National League, and it is Verlander ahead of Scherzer, Peralta, Woodruff, and Max Fried getting mentions as well. But Verlander and deGrom were definitely, weren't they, off by the season stats, the stars of this season. So, as a Mets fan, let's hope that rings true this season. And as for the MVPs, it is Shohei Ohtani that wins it in the American League. We've got Henderson up there with Trout, Vlad Jr., Rauchman, deGrom, Correa, Judge, and you can see the rest there yourself. And if we go and have a look at the National League, well, it is Freddie Freeman, MVP of the Dodgers, ahead of Acuna Jr. Pete Alonso is up there in third, and we can see there Verlander getting a couple of votes as well. And then we've got Scherzer of the Mets and everybody else there as well. So there we go. That is how this season will play out. If you're a Jays fan, you're hoping it's going to ring true. If you're not, then you hope it's wrong. But let me know what you think is going to happen in the comments. As I say, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. And if you want to know how a Blue Jays with only Canadian players would go, then come and join me as we try that experiment. Take care.